to that family that I told you about, I mean, some of the people in that family were my best friends, some of the kids. And, I would be over there when all of this generational emotion would wave, just come like a tsunami, through, their houses. And I'm imagining it being summer and being outside. So, everybody would be outside, and this wave of emotion would just like wash over this whole family. And as I began to grow, over time, I recognized when I was not in it that the way that I felt when they all reacted that way made me really uncomfortable, and it made me nervous, and it inspired me to make decisions. Decisions about whether it's really good for me to hang out with those friends, or maybe it's better if I don't hang out with them when they're with their whole family. But before I even got to that, I was like, okay, well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I don't want to share this emotion and this drama with them? And, the truth is, there's nothing wrong with us choosing not to experience other people's emotions so that it knocks us off balance. I mean, there's everything right about it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely okay not to get caught up in the drama and emotions of others. It's okay. You are not, even if it's someone that you love and adore and are really close with, your best friend, your partner, whatever, your child, your parent, it's okay to not get caught up in their stuff. When they're, stirring it up and that tank is rising, it's okay to not jump in there with them.
Right. And this morning I was looking at some information on empathy, and the skills of empathy are, one, offer help, right? So you can do that by just listening. You can do that by just being there. You get to choose how you're going to offer help. The next one, and I love this one, is control your own emotions. Then after those two, you take action. The next step is to know when to withhold action, and then follow up with, all of the steps that you took. So the part that I really love in this is, sometimes we don't know how to control our emotions, but if you think about know when to withhold action, that could lead to controlling your emotions. Like, okay, so what am I going to withhold? I'm going to withhold starting to cry with this person, because really, it's not a death in my family. It was her father, and although I love her, that's great. Maybe a tear will come down my cheek, but I don't have to begin wailing, and losing myself to that situation and then be unavailable.
Yeah. I love that. And I know what you mean about controlling emotion, but that could sound really difficult to some people.
Yes.
Like that, oh, I can't, I can't control how I feel. This is how I feel. Don't tell me how I can't feel or whatever. So maybe just trying to be aware of how you're feeling, because sometimes that will be enough to kind of snap you and go, wait, I'm feeling really bad right now. I'm feeling really like jittery, nervous, I'm scared, I'm nauseous. I don't like feeling this way. Let me take a step back, because this isn't even my thing.
Exactly.
I'm just, getting involved in the soup here. So let me just kind of take a deep breath and check in with how I actually want to feel. And can I get there? Because that's how you can really figure out if that's yours or not. I mean, we're not saying that, if you really have a trauma, have something really horrible that's going on, that you're not allowed to feel that, of course. But you have to, if it's not yours, you have to, like, is this really mine or is this theirs? And am I strong enough and comfortable enough to let them feel what they need to feel right now without getting involved in it?
And going back to what you said there, you said, just be aware of it. And if we're becoming aware of it, and we look at our reaction and we look at our history to reacting that way, we may go into the judgment of ourselves about it when it's really not coming up for you to judge yourself or shame yourself or beat yourself up. It's coming up as a gift to you to saying, look, here's the next path on your journey. Do you want to take a look at the way that you feel when you react emotionally to other people's emotions? Yeah? Okay, great. So just for today, be aware of it. And then that awareness later will turn into making a decision about it.
Yeah. And wow, that is very powerful. And yes, I love what you said. It's, don't judge yourself for how you're feeling. That's so important. Don't judge yourself for your emotions, whatever they may be. Because you can't get to the place that you won't get involved or judge or whatever somebody else's emotions if you can't even just go, you know what, it's okay that I'm angry right now. It's okay that I'm scared right now. It's okay to just be okay. Never judge your emotions, because then you really can't do anything about them.
Right. Or, some of us, and, I'm speaking from experience, we're very attached to the habitual emotional response. So, you could choose something like, okay, I'm not going to react now, but I'll react later. And that's when I was a little kid and I came up with, I'm really good during an emergency,
yes,
but I fall apart later. And, of course, that led me into nursing. But the fall apart later, is where I began to work on that. Then I was completely available during emergencies, during crises, during, huge emotional experiences. And then I would go, okay, well, how long do you want to fall apart for? Do you want to do it for a day? You want to do it for an hour? No, I'm just going to do it for 15 minutes. And then it became a no part of my life. I didn't have to choose that anymore.
Yeah. How amazing is that? You can actually choose to not fall apart.
Yeah. And I heard something, because you were saying, is it mine or is it somebody else's? I was listening to the amazing Rika Zimmerman the other day, and I'm probably not going to get this completely right, but out of all the trillions and billions of cells that we have, billions and trillions of cells that we have inside of us, the greater percentage of microbes and things like that are inside of us are not us. Yeah. So when I heard that like 47% of the cells and the processes that go on are not of me, I felt like I had more choice over what I experience, and even the way that my health expresses itself. When I looked at it that way, that, oh my God, that this isn't all me, and, I don't even know if I can correct this behavior, that it was 47% of stuff and, and experiences and energy and microbes that are not me, then I felt like I had more control over it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, good. I got lost in the microbes there and was like looking at a cell under the microscope for a minute.
No, it makes total sense, and I heard something similar. It's so funny how connected we are, but I saw something similar this morning, and I can't find it or whatever, but it's something very similar from a scientist that was talking about memories and things, how our brain is wired, and how most of the stuff that's in there didn't really happen. We just kind of put it in there that way. But yeah, I mean that's just anything that allows us to step back and go, wow, okay, so I don't really have to feel that way. It's like it gives us that permission. Going back to way back in the beginning when we were talking about that family, where almost maybe the new members coming into that family feel like they're not allowed to not react the way everybody else reacts. They have to. Or anything that we can find that helps us go, you know what? I don't have to get caught up in that. I don't have to feel that way. I don't have to, sit there and cry next to, Aunt Susie because she's crying about, what happened to her in high school, and that's still coming up for her 30 years later. I don't have to do that. Right. It's okay for me to bring her a glass of water, put my hand on her shoulder, and just be like, I'll just be here. I'm just going to sit here.
That's beautiful. And we don't have to receive the news, as a huge insult to our nervous system.
Right.
We can kind of buffer ourselves. I mean, we can make the decision before we turn on the news, okay, I'm going to be an observer. I'm going to be a neutral observer today. Or even better and much more disciplined in this one, I'm going to be a neutral observer when I look at political stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the stuff for great emotion. So
yeah. I think with you've referenced some of the things that happened in the last few days, and being able to make the choice to just say, I'm just going to be compassionate to everyone, and be able to stay there and realize how powerful that is, and not lose that, getting swept up in everything else, and just being able to be compassionate. Because we're not saying don't feel. We're not saying be cold, don't react, don't, feel sympathy or empathy when someone's in pain, or don't feel a reaction to something that's violent or horrific. That's not what we're saying. It's feel your feelings. And I think it starts with compassion, being able to be compassionate for yourself. And sometimes in situations like this, and you brought up politics, I'm not going there, but sometimes, being able to be compassionate for yourself and say, this is how I feel. These are my opinions, and I'm okay with them. I don't need to share them with anybody because I don't need to push anybody's buttons.
Right.
But if I stay here in this energy, and hopefully we can connect, going back to why we all feel these things, it's like we can connect with the other people that do feel the same way, then change will really start to happen. Because as long as all that arguing and fighting and getting caught up in the emotions and, whatever it is, woe is me, or he was wrong, or, somebody did something to me and now I'm damaged, or whatever, as long as we're in that place, there's nothing good that can come from that.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And I would like to just share a great tool that I received many years ago from the amazing creators of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas and Dane Here. And that's when, this is so great, it's so simple. That's when you feel the emotion, and you take a minute, and all we have to do is acknowledge it. So they call that a point of view, right? So I'm tailoring this to emotion. So we can look at that and go, oh, emotion. Isn't it interesting that I'm having an emotion? And honestly, if you do that, chances are you might not go down the emotional path.
I like it. It makes sense.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, it does. It probably, maybe to people that haven't heard this concept before, and I think that's one of the reasons that we do the love sessions, because we're just all about loving yourself and taking care of yourself and bringing that love back to you. And something like that might sound so foreign, like, that's impossible. How can you not feel an emotion? It just sounds impossible. But yeah, I love that. If you just acknowledge it,
yes,
and just go, and in that thing, it's like giving yourself permission to be okay with having that emotion.
Right.
And it will, you could feel it, and you can observe yourself feeling it. I know it sounds crazy, but it really is a true thing. I love that you said that, because you can go like, yeah, wow, I'm feeling that right now, and be okay. Not have your whole nervous system short out because of that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And when I first heard that concept, I didn't really understand it either. But I tried it and it worked. And that's the beauty of it. You can figure out why it works later, but if it bails you out, during an emotional time, and that you don't want your nose raw from, using too many tissues, if it bails you out from that, or if it helps you build emotional resilience, why not try it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, you know, going back, please, I think we're extending an invitation to everyone to take some time somewhere in your days to think about how you process emotion and, you know, maybe run through some scenarios and see how you've reacted and come up with different ways. So when the event happens, when you're confronted with that person or that group of people or that news item or whatever, you're a little bit better prepared. And it takes practice. We know it takes practice.
It does take practice. And I love that, you know, you brought in why we do the love sessions. You know, the love sessions isn't about, you know, Dear Abby for relationships. The love sessions is about bringing love back to you. And the most important relationship, no matter what you're going to go forward and do, is really, really, really with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. We both believe that 100%. And that's what we try to do, is just give you different ways to love yourself and to bring that love back, and hopefully tools, and invite you into looking at different things and different ways of thinking and processing and whatever that love you and just help you have a better life, have more fun in your life, and not get caught up in what's not yours.
I don't even want to dilute that. That's so good. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to practice today.
Yeah, me too.
There's an emotion. Interesting that I'm having that emotion. I'm going to go practice right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.